Hey everyone, it's Epoch here, and this is my response video to this week's comic book cover challenge set by Alan at Comic Collector Geek. This week's theme for the challenge is photo covers, so let's take a look at 10 photo covers from my collection. First up is Angel number 3. This is going to be a bit of a theme through this video as I have a lot of Buffy and Angel photo covers. This is just one of the classic season 1 shots, and this one here is also signed by the writer Christopher Golden. I got this from the QVC shopping channel back in the day. I think this is number 199 of 1500, and it also came with issue 1 and 2 signed, of both photo covers as well. But I've gone for issue 3 because this is like the quintessential sort of Angel season 1 cast shot. So that's Angel number 3. Coming in at number 9 this week is Man-Eaters number 2. This is quite a controversial cover. It's a photograph of a tampon with a cat drawn on it. A lot of the covers in this series, Man-Eaters, are quite controversial, or maybe just a few of them. And the series itself is a little weird. I thought I'd try it out just to see what it was like when it first came out, but I didn't stick with it. I got rid of it after a few issues. But some interesting controversial covers. So this is Man-Eaters number 2 with the tampon on there with the cat whiskers drawn on it. And it's an iridescent cover as well, so it kind of shines in the light if you can see that. But yeah, that's Man-Eaters number 2. Coming in at number 8 is Doctor Who Free Comic Book Day number 2017. This is just a fun one because it's the 4 kind of modern era Doctors, the 9th through 12th Doctors together, teaming up on the cover here, which is not something you see very often, at least certainly not in the show. You only had 10 and 11 teaming up in the show itself, really. But yeah, I just thought this was an interesting one just before the kind of Chibnall years, kind of the last hurrah of modern Doctor Who. So this is a fun one, yeah. Doctor Who Free Comic Book Day number 2017. My next pick this week is Buffy the Vampire Slayer Spike and Drew, the Queen of Hearts one shot. It's just a fun little one shot following the characters before they reach Sunnydale in Buffy the Vampire Slayer Season 2. We just have different images here of Spike and Drew together, which is always nice. They're two of my favourite Buffy characters. So it's Buffy the Vampire Slayer Spike and Drew, the Queen of Hearts one shot. In at number 6 this week is another Buffy the Vampire Slayer comic. This time it's Oz issue 1 from the 3-issue miniseries. Again, the photo cover this time featuring Willow and Oz, who are two of my favourite characters in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. When Buffy was at its peak in series 3, and these two characters together, I just love them. So this is a miniseries which is set between Oz leaving in episode 6 of series 4 and returning in episode 19. So this is what he gets up to between those two episodes. So it's just a fun little mini series, especially if you're fans of these two characters. So yeah, that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer Oz number 1. In at number 5 is another Buffyverse comic. This time it's Angel number 6. I just thought this one was a bit different as we have the two kind of photographs here of Angel and Doyle, but they're sort of broken up by these kind of shards of colour, which I thought was quite reminiscent of the Gold Key kind of photo covers of the 60s, especially like the early Star Trek ones. So that's Angel number 6. In at number 4, we have Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, number 1. This is sort of the classic Elvira pose here as she sits there on the couch. And I really like this issue because the trade dress as well is very reminiscent of pays homage really to the old EC kind of pre-code horror comics. So I just thought this was a really good one because she's kind of one of the queens of horror. So that's Elvira, Mistress of the Dark, number 1. In at number 3 is Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 1. This is the gold foil variant cover, so the logo is in a sort of embossed gold foil. I think again I got this off one of the shopping networks back in the day when Buffy was at its peak, and I think this was probably one of my first photo covers I ever got. So I just have a lot of fun memories with this one. So that's Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 1. We have Buffy here on the front. And with her short hair, so I guess it's a season 2 cast shot. But yeah, Buffy the Vampire Slayer number 1, just a fun comic. And at number 2 this week, we have The Amazing Spider-Man number 262. I just thought this was a really interesting one. It's a photo comic of Spider-Man here, sort of mid-change into his costume, and someone in the background actually taking a photograph of him. But I just thought this was quite unusual, because usually when you see photo covers from companies like Marvel or DC, it's usually because it's a tie-in to a film or something like that. So I just thought this was quite interesting because it's actually just a normal issue in the main run of Spider-Man. So that's Amazing Spider-Man number 262. And my number one pick this week is another Elvira comic. This time it's Elvira Mistress of the Dark #7. This is absolutely one of my favourite sort of Elvira photo shoots. It just has everything. I think it's one of Elvira's sexiest photo shoots. We get the full figure shot here as well when it kind of plays into the horror with her sort of lying on the spider's web. So I've just always thought this was a fun one. So that's Elvira Mistress of the Dark #7. So those were my picks for this week's comic book cover challenge set by Alan at Comic Collector Geek. I hope you enjoyed the 10 photo covers that I picked out. Admittedly, they were sort of limited a wee bit to Buffy the Vampire Slayer there, but that's where most of my photo covers lie in my collection. But I hope I got a bit of variety in for you. If you'd like to take part, then just make a video showing off your 10 best photo covers from your personal comic book collection and use the hashtags PhotoComicCover and Friday Comic Challenge. That way everyone in the community can take a look at your video and have a look at some different covers that they might want to add to their collection. If you'd like to check out some of my previous entries into the comic book cover challenge, and please check out the playlist linked here at the side. And until next week, I'll see you then.